You may not have a body odor problem. You may have a routine problem. That distinction matters, because most people respond to feeling less fresh in exactly the same way: more deodorant, more perfume, stronger body wash, another spray for the clothes, maybe a scented detergent powerful enough to announce your arrival before you enter the room. But covering a smell and preventing a smell are not the same thing. In many Japanese homes, hygiene is approached less like an emergency you solve after odor appears, and more like a series of small boundaries that stop sweat, moisture, bacteria, outside dirt, and stale fabric from building up in the first place. The habits are not dramatic. Most do not require expensive products. Some take less than a minute, but together they change something important. Instead of constantly trying to smell fresh, you create fewer opportunities to become stale, and that is what we are going to look at today. 6 tiny Japanese-inspired hygiene habits that can make a noticeable difference in how fresh your body, clothes, shoes, bathroom and home feel. One of them begins before you even step fully inside your home. Another has almost nothing to do with soap. And number 5 is where many people accidentally undo all the effort they made in the shower. Stay until the end, because after the 6th habit, I will give you a simple evening freshness reset you can test tonight without buying anything. This is the Japanese Reset, where we explore small Japanese ideas that can make everyday life calmer, cleaner and more intentional. Number 1. Stop bringing the outside directly into the inside. Imagine your normal arrival home. You unlock the door, walk in wearing the shoes you wore on sidewalks, parking lots, public floors, elevators, office corridors, stores, maybe a train platform, and then continue into the kitchen or bedroom. Your bag lands on a chair, your jacket drops onto the bed. Your phone goes onto the kitchen counter. You are home, so mentally the day is finished, but physically the outside has followed you in. One useful idea in Japanese homes is the genkan, the entryway area that creates a clear transition between outdoor footwear and the cleaner interior of the home. The details vary from home to home, of course, but the principle is powerful because it makes cleanliness a boundary problem instead of a constant cleaning problem. Here is what most people never notice. Freshness is not only about what happens to your skin. It is also about what surrounds your skin. Shoes carry sweat and odor. Jackets absorb cooking smells, traffic smells, smoke, humidity, and whatever environment you have spent time in. Bags touch floors and seats. If all of those items immediately move into sleeping and living spaces, your clean home slowly begins smelling like everywhere you have been. Then you compensate. You burn a candle, you spray the sofa, you wash the bedding more often, you blame the room. But the room may not be the beginning of the problem. The Japanese lesson here is not that you need to recreate a traditional Japanese entrance. You do not. The useful lesson is that a physical boundary creates a behavioral boundary, so make one. Choose a small zone near your door. Shoes stop there, outdoor jackets stop there whenever practical. Bags get one specific place that is not your bed or dining table. If your climate is humid, do not throw damp shoes into a sealed cabinet immediately. Let them dry first, and pay attention to your feet. Feet spend hours inside a warm enclosed environment. Sweat itself is not necessarily the strong smell you notice. Odor often becomes more noticeable when moisture remains trapped, and microorganisms break down substances in sweat and skin. That means the goal is not to panic about sweating. Sweating is normal. The goal is to stop creating a warm, damp storage box around your feet for the entire evening. When you come home, remove your shoes. If your socks are damp, change them. Let shoes air out rather than putting them straight back into a closed pile. Rotate footwear when you can instead of wearing the same damp pair every day. For older viewers, make the system easy rather than elegant. Put a stable chair near the entrance if you need one to change shoes safely. Keep indoor slippers or clean house shoes nearby if you prefer wearing footwear indoors. The habit should reduce friction, not add another household performance. Try this tomorrow. When you enter your home, do not walk farther than necessary before taking care of shoes, outer layers and anything damp. That small pause says, the outside day ends here. The difference looks small, but it is not. One system carries the day through the entire house. The other leaves most of it at the door. And once you understand boundaries, the next habit becomes obvious, because there is another place where freshness is often lost before you even notice it. Number 2. Dry first, dress second. You know the routine. You finish a shower. You are in a hurry. You wipe your body quickly, but your skin is still slightly damp. The bathroom is steamy. You put on underwear, a shirt, maybe socks, and start the day. You feel clean, but clean and dry are not the same condition. Moisture trapped against the body can make certain areas feel warmer and less comfortable, especially under the arms, around the feet, under skin folds, or beneath tight clothing. For some people, that dampness can also contribute to stronger odor because moisture creates a friendlier environment for odor-producing microorganisms. This is where a small habit becomes disproportionately useful. In Japanese bathing culture, the bath and the washing process are often treated as separate stages. Traditionally, the body is washed before entering the bath, and the bath itself is associated with soaking and relaxation rather than scrubbing dirt away. Modern homes and routines differ widely, but the underlying idea of moving through hygiene in clear stages is worth borrowing. Wash, rinse, dry, then dress, not wash, rush, trap moisture, and hope the deodorant handles the rest. Be honest. How often do you put clothes onto skin that is technically still wet? The shift is simple. After bathing, dry deliberately rather than aggressively. Pay attention to the places that stay damp longest, between your toes, under the arms, around the neck, beneath the chest, and anywhere skin touches skin. You do not need to scrub yourself with a towel. That can irritate sensitive skin. Pat dry. Give your body a short moment before dressing. Even 60 extra seconds can change the sequence. If the bathroom is full of steam, improve ventilation if possible. Open the door once privacy allows. Run an exhaust fan if you have one. Let the room release moisture instead of letting your clean towel, clothes, bath mat, and skin absorb it all. This matters because sometimes the thing you think is body odor is actually wet fabric odor. A towel that never dries properly begins smelling stale. You use it on a clean body, then wonder why you stop feeling fresh 10 minutes later. So add a second rule. Your towel needs to dry completely between uses. Do not leave it balled up on the floor. Do not hang 3 thick towels on one tiny hook where air cannot circulate. Spread it out. Give moisture somewhere to go. The same applies to washcloths and bath mats. In many Japanese households, managing moisture is a practical concern because Japan experiences humid conditions in many regions and seasons. Ventilation, drying, and controlling dampness are not glamorous subjects, but they matter when you are trying to keep a bathroom and body feeling fresh. And this is one place where Western hygiene habits can become unnecessarily product-heavy. We buy a stronger scent when the real problem is trapped water. We buy a bathroom spray when the towel needs air. We use more soap when the skin simply needed to dry before being covered. The fresh feeling you want is often less about adding something and more about removing moisture at the right moment. So tomorrow, after your shower, slow down for 1 minute. Dry the body completely. Dry between the toes. Let the towel hang open. Vent the bathroom, then get dressed. Cleanliness begins with washing. Freshness often depends on what happens immediately afterward. Now we move to a habit that may surprise you, because it involves using less rather than more. Number 3. Stop trying to scrub your body into freshness. When people worry about odor, they often escalate. Stronger soap, more scrubbing, hotter water, longer showers, more fragrance, sometimes 2 showers in the same day, with aggressive cleansing every time. It feels logical. If odor is bad, more washing must be better. But skin does not operate like a kitchen floor. Your skin is a living barrier. It produces oils, it hosts microorganisms, it reacts to friction, temperature, shaving, fabric, products, and dryness. Overwashing or using harsh products can irritate some people's skin. Very hot water can also leave skin feeling dry and uncomfortable, and when skin becomes irritated, you may end up using even more products to fix the discomfort created by the first products. This is where the Japanese idea of cleanliness can be misunderstood. People sometimes look at Japanese bathing practices and assume the lesson is simply bathe more. That misses the system. A common Japanese approach to bathing emphasizes entering the bath after cleaning the body, rather than using the soaking water as the place where dirt is removed. The sequence matters. Clean first, soak second, but the useful lesson for you is not to imitate every part of Japanese bathing culture. It is to stop confusing intensity with effectiveness. If your goal is to feel fresh, focus your washing where it matters. Armpits, feet, groin area, areas where sweat and friction collect. Then wash the rest of your body according to what your skin actually needs, rather than attacking every inch with maximum force. Use comfortably warm water instead of making every shower almost unbearably hot. Choose a cleanser that your skin tolerates. You do not need your skin to feel squeaky in order to be clean. In fact, squeaky is not a biological achievement, it is just a sensation. And there is another trap here: fragrance. A highly perfumed body wash can make the bathroom smell amazing while you are bathing, but it does not necessarily solve the conditions that create odor later. Think about the logic. If sweat collects under the arms 6 hours after your shower, the smell of your soap from 6 hours earlier is not a reliable defense. A better system is to clean effectively, dry thoroughly, wear breathable clean fabric when possible, and deal with sweat during the day before it sits for hours. This is also where you need a little common sense. Persistent or unusually strong body odor can sometimes be influenced by medications, diet, infections, skin conditions, hormonal changes, or other health issues. If your odor changes suddenly, is accompanied by other symptoms, or does not improve despite reasonable hygiene, it is worth discussing with a qualified healthcare professional, rather than simply buying stronger products. Good hygiene should not become a punishment. That is an important point. Some people turn freshness into self-criticism. They scrub harder because they feel embarrassed. They spray more because they are afraid someone noticed. They become hyper-aware of their body in public. But a useful routine should make you less preoccupied with yourself, not more. The Japanese reset here is about precision. Wash what needs washing. Use enough product. Rinse properly. Dry completely. Stop turning your skin into a battlefield. The loudest hygiene routine is not always the cleanest one. And once the body is clean, we arrive at one of the biggest freshness mistakes people make without realizing it. They put yesterday back on. Number 4. Never let worn once clothing become a permanent category. Look around your bedroom. There may be a chair, maybe a bench, maybe the corner of a dresser. And on that surface is a strange category of clothing that exists in millions of homes. Not clean enough to go back into the closet. Not dirty enough to go into the laundry, so it lives there. The shirt from yesterday, the trousers worn for a few hours, the sweater that still seems fine, the exercise clothes you might wear again, the jacket that absorbed restaurant smells, the pajamas you have been wearing longer than you want to admit. You know the one. This is where odor quietly becomes a storage problem. Fabric absorbs sweat, skin oils, cooking odors, environmental smells, and humidity. Some clothing can absolutely be worn more than once depending on the garment, weather, activity level, material, and personal circumstances. Washing everything after a single short wear can be unnecessary and wasteful. But the problem begins when you stop making a decision. The clothes are not airing, they are not being washed, they are not being stored properly. They are simply sitting in a pile, trapping whatever moisture they collected. Japanese culture often places importance on order, defined storage, and avoiding unnecessary accumulation. This connects loosely with the practical spirit behind motenai, a concept associated with regret over waste and respect for the full value of things. And here is the interesting part: respecting clothing does not mean washing it constantly. Sometimes it means giving it a proper state, clean. Needs washing, can be aired and worn again. Those categories are better than one chair covered in uncertainty. If a garment can be reworn, hang it somewhere with airflow instead of folding it immediately into a closed closet or dropping it in a heap. If it smells, feels damp, touched sweaty skin for hours, or was worn during exercise, treat it as laundry. If you are unsure, ask a simple question: would I be comfortable putting this on immediately after a shower? If the answer is no, stop pretending it is clean. And pay particular attention to synthetic workout clothing. Some fabrics can hold on to odor compounds even after they appear dry. If you leave sweaty exercise clothes compressed in a gym bag for hours, you are giving odor exactly the environment it wants. So the replacement habit is immediate separation. When you get home, empty the gym bag, hang damp items temporarily if they cannot be washed yet. Do not bury wet fabric under dry fabric. Do not leave used socks inside shoes overnight. Do not let yesterday's shirt spend 3 days aging on a chair. This is also important for sleepwear. You shower at night, put on pajamas, sleep for hours, sweat slightly as your body regulates temperature, wake up, fold the pajamas under a pillow, and repeat. Then after several nights, your clean body is going back into stale fabric. Again, the answer is not obsessive washing, it is awareness. Freshness is a chain. If one link is stale, the entire routine feels less effective. The Western habit often focuses on making the body clean, and treats clothing as an afterthought. The better system treats skin and fabric as one environment. Now we have handled your body and your clothing, the next habit affects something even more stubborn, your shoes. Number 5. Do not wear the same closed shoes every day if they never get time to dry. Shoes are one of the most ignored sources of odor because they stay far away from your nose until they do not. You take them off at someone's home, you open a gym bag, you bend down to tie the laces. Suddenly, there it is, and the usual response is to spray something inside. Problem solved. Except often it is not. Closed shoes spend hours collecting heat and moisture from your feet. If you wear the same pair the next morning before they have fully dried, you restart the process in a damp environment. Day after day, the shoe becomes less like a piece of clothing and more like a tiny humid room. A useful Japanese habit in many settings is the separation between outdoor shoes and indoor footwear. Again, not every person or household behaves identically, but the cultural distinction makes shoes more visible as objects that carry both outside dirt and inside moisture. That visibility matters. When shoes are treated as something that needs its own place, you are more likely to notice their condition. So here is a simple freshness system. First, let shoes breathe after wearing them. Loosen the laces, open the tongue, remove insoles if they are designed to be removed and need drying. Do not immediately trap damp shoes inside a plastic bag, closed box or overcrowded cupboard. Second, change socks daily, and more often if they become soaked with sweat. Third, if possible, rotate between pairs of shoes rather than using the same closed pair every single day. You do not need a huge shoe collection. 2 suitable pairs used intelligently can be more hygienic than 10 neglected pairs. Fourth, wash your feet, but dry them carefully too. Between the toes matters, and if you repeatedly experience strong foot odor, itching, peeling, cracking, or irritation, do not simply mask it. Those symptoms can sometimes point to a skin issue that may need proper treatment. Here is another small point people resist. Some shoes are finished. Not emotionally, physically. The lining is saturated with years of wear, the material has broken down, the insole stays unpleasant even after proper cleaning and drying. You keep them because they are comfortable or expensive or still look fine. But appearance is only one measure of whether an item still serves you. Monotony does not mean keeping something forever until it becomes a burden. Respect for resources also means using things well, maintaining them properly, and recognizing when their useful life is over. That can be a difficult idea for people who hate waste. You may keep an old pair of shoes because throwing them away feels irresponsible. But if they smell bad, hurt your feet, and make you uncomfortable every time you remove them, they are no longer saving you money. They are charging you an embarrassment. The shift is simple. Do not perfume your shoes, manage their moisture. Odor sprays can sometimes be useful, but they should support the system, not replace it. Fresh shoes begin with dry shoes. And now we reach the habit that surprises people most, because it happens after you have done almost everything right. You washed, you dried, you put on clean clothes, you handled your shoes, then you ruined the result with one towel, one pillowcase, or one bed. Number 6. Do not return a clean body to an unclean sleep environment. This is where the entire routine closes. You can take the best shower of your life, use the perfect amount of soap, dry carefully, put on clean pajamas, and still wake up feeling stale if your bedding, pillowcase, blanket, or bedroom environment is holding on to sweat, skin oils, humidity, or poor airflow. Think about how many hours your face touches a pillowcase, how many hours your body stays under the same bedding, how much skin contact happens while you sleep. Then ask yourself a simple question. When did I last change the pillowcase? Not the entire bed, just the pillowcase. Many people can answer immediately. Others suddenly become very interested in changing the subject. This matters because hygiene is not one event called taking a shower. It is an environment. Japanese futon culture offers an interesting example of this environmental mindset. Traditional futons can be folded and stored, and airing bedding has long been part of household care in Japan. Modern Japanese sleeping arrangements vary widely, and not everyone uses futons, but the practical principle is easy to understand. Bedding benefits from being aired, dried, and maintained, rather than treated like permanent furniture that never needs attention except on laundry day. Your mattress may not fold, that does not matter, the principle still works. When you wake up, give the bed a little air, before immediately trapping all the warmth and moisture under tightly arranged blankets. You do not need to leave your room looking chaotic all day. Just give moisture a chance to escape. If the weather and your home environment allow it, ventilate the room, wash pillowcases and bedding on a schedule that makes sense for your body, climate and needs. If you sweat heavily at night, you may need to change some items more often. If you shower in the morning rather than at night, pay attention to what your body brings into bed after a full day. There is no single perfect schedule for everyone. The useful idea is that your sleep environment should support the clean state you keep trying to create. The same goes for pillows, mattress protectors and blankets. Not everything needs frequent full washing, but everything needs maintenance. And do not forget the small fabric items that sit close to your face, the towel you use after washing your face, the hand towel beside the sink, the cloth you keep using because it does not look dirty. Visible dirt is not the only reason fabric needs refreshing. Moisture and repeated skin contact matter too. Here is a practical rule. If something repeatedly touches clean skin, it should itself have a clear cleaning and drying routine. That is the hidden connection between all 6 habits. You are not chasing odor, you are managing transitions. Outside to inside, wet to dry, dirty to clean, worn to aired or washed, sweaty shoes to dry shoes, clean body to clean bed. This is where the Japanese approach becomes useful, because the strongest lesson is not one specific product or one ritual, it is sequencing. You do not need to change your whole life, you only need to change the order. And now I want to give you the full reset routine you can use tonight. Call it the Freshness Boundary Reset. It takes only a few minutes, and you do not need to buy anything. Start at your front door. Look at your shoes. Are they piled together while still damp? Separate them, open them, give them airflow. If socks are sitting inside them, remove the socks, then move to the bathroom. Check your towel. Is it open and drying, or folded into a damp bundle? Hang it properly. Look at the bath mat too. If the room still feels wet long after showers, improve ventilation as much as your home allows. Next, go to the clothing chair. You know which chair I mean. Pick up every item and force a decision. Clean enough to store, needs airing, needs washing, no 4th category. Then go to the bedroom, check the pillowcase, check the pajamas, pull the blanket back for a while if the bed still feels warm or damp. Finally, tomorrow morning, change one part of your routine. After your shower, do not dress immediately, dry completely first. That is the entire reset. Door, bathroom, clothes, bed, body. 5 boundaries that support one result. And if that sounds almost too simple, that is the point. Many hygiene problems become expensive because we respond too late. We wait until a room smells stale, then buy fragrance. We wait until shoes smell bad, then spray them. We wait until clothing holds odor, then use stronger detergent. We wait until the bathroom becomes damp, then scrub mildew. We wait until we feel embarrassed, then attack the body with more products. A better system tries to interrupt the conditions earlier. That is also the deeper emotional lesson here. Freshness is not about being afraid of your natural body. Human beings sweat, skin produces oil, clothes absorb smells, homes collect moisture. Nothing about that is a personal failure. The goal is not to become scentless. The goal is to make ordinary hygiene easier by creating routines that do part of the work for you. This is why tiny systems are more powerful than occasional extremes. A 5-minute cleaning panic once a week cannot always replace 30 seconds of drying every day. A strong perfume cannot replace fresh fabric. An expensive laundry product cannot fix clothing that sat wet in a bag for 2 days. A beautiful bathroom cannot stay fresh if every towel remains damp. And a clean home does not stay clean easily when the boundary between outside and inside does not exist. The useful lesson is not that Japan is perfect, but that this system solves a familiar problem differently. It asks a better question. Instead of asking, how do I cover the smell? Ask, Where did freshness get interrupted? Maybe it was the shoes, maybe it was trapped moisture, maybe it was yesterday's shirt, maybe it was the towel, maybe it was the pillowcase, maybe it was simply the habit of rushing from one stage to the next without letting anything dry. That question gives you something you can actually change, and once you begin noticing these transitions, you may find that hygiene becomes quieter, fewer emergency washes, fewer mystery smells, less spraying, less anxiety about whether other people can notice something you cannot, more confidence because the system is predictable. You know where outdoor shoes go, you know where worn clothing goes, you know when the towel gets changed, you know that damp clothes do not stay trapped. You know that clean skin does not immediately disappear under stale fabric. That is what good routines do. They remove decisions from moments when you are tired. They make the cleaner action the easier action. And that is a principle far bigger than hygiene. A calm home is not a home where someone is constantly cleaning. It is a home where mess, moisture, dirt, and clutter have fewer opportunities to travel. A fresh body is not necessarily a body covered in fragrance. It is a body supported by clean fabric, dry skin, breathable shoes, and a maintained environment. So remember the 6 habits. Create a boundary at the entrance instead of letting outdoor dirt and odor travel through the home. Dry fully before you dress instead of trapping moisture under clean clothes. Wash with precision instead of trying to scrub your skin into submission. Give worn clothing a clear status instead of building a permanent pile of half-clean fabric. Let shoes dry and rotate when possible, instead of spraying over trapped moisture. And protect the final stage by keeping the bedding and fabrics that touch your clean body fresh too. That is the reset. One approach hides the symptom after it appears, the other quietly removes the conditions that helped create it. Tonight, do not overhaul your bathroom or buy a new hygiene routine. Choose one boundary. If I were choosing the most useful starting point, I would begin with the clothing chair or the shoes by the door, because both reveal immediately whether your home has a real system or just a collection of temporary decisions. Then tomorrow morning add the 1-minute dry before you dress rule. Notice how your body and clothing feel by the middle of the day. Not perfect, not transformed, just different. Which of these 6 habits do you think is currently breaking your freshness routine most often? Shoes, moisture, overwashing, worn clothes, bedding, or the entryway? Tell me the number in the comments. If this gave you a practical idea you can actually use, like the video and subscribe to the Japanese Reset for more small Japanese systems that make everyday life cleaner, calmer, and easier to manage. And share this with someone who keeps buying stronger fragrances when what they may really need is a better routine. Freshness does not begin with what you spray on. It begins with what you stop allowing to build up.